Tasha and Pip's Time Machine Episode 1, The Dinosaur Discovery. Tasha and her best friend, a little white rabbit named Pip, lived next door to the very mysterious and very loud Jonathan. Every day, strange sounds, whizzes, bangs, and pops came from his workshop. But today, there was a loud zap, followed by complete silence. "That's a new one," Tasha said to Pip. "We have to investigate." They found a loose board in the fence and wiggled through into Jonathan's yard. It was a jungle of strange metal parts, whirring gizmos, and garden gnomes wearing tiny space helmets. The back door to Jonathan's workshop was slightly open. Tiptoeing inside, their jaws dropped. In the middle of the messy room was a magnificent machine. It was shaped like a giant, shiny copper egg covered in glowing dials, tangled wires, and blinking lights. In the center was a single, comfy-looking red chair. Tasha crept closer. There was no sign of Jonathan, but a note was taped to the control panel. It read, "Be back for tea." Tasha couldn't help herself. She climbed into the big red chair. Pip, not wanting to be left alone, scrambled up onto her lap. As Tasha reached out to pat him, her elbow bumped a big, flashing green button. Whoosh! The door slammed shut, lights flashed, gears whirred, and the whole egg began to spin and shake. The spinning stopped with a sudden clunk. Tasha and Pip looked at each other, their hearts thumping like drums. Taking a deep breath, Tasha pushed the button to open the door. They were definitely not in Jonathan's workshop anymore. They stepped out onto soft, damp grass. Giant ferns towered over them like skyscrapers, and buzzing insects the size of dinner plates zipped through the air. The world smelled warm and green and wild. "Pip," Tasha whispered, "where are we?" Just then, the ground began to tremble. Thump. A heavy footstep was getting closer and closer. A huge shadow fell over them. They both looked up, and up. Staring down at them with a gentle, curious eye was the biggest creature they had ever seen. A long-necked brontosaurus was peacefully munching on leaves from the top of a giant tree. Tasha let out a relieved giggle. "It's just a plant eater." But her laugh was cut short by a new sound. It wasn't a gentle munching or a quiet footstep. It was a deep, terrifying, and very close roar. Tasha and Pip's Time Machine Episode 2, The Future Shock. Roar! A sound like thunder shook the little time machine. Tasha peeked through the window. A Tyrannosaurus Rex, bigger than a bus, stared right at them. Its teeth were as long as bananas. Tasha gulped, hugging Pip close. "I think it's hungry," she whispered. The T-Rex roared again, but this time it sounded different. Not angry, but sad. Pip's long ears twitched. He wriggled out of Tasha's arms and patted the window with his paw, looking back at Tasha with big, serious eyes. He wasn't scared at all. Tasha looked past the giant dinosaur. At the edge of a bubbling tar pit, a much smaller T-Rex was stuck. It let out a tiny, squeaky roar. "Pip, you're right," Tasha said. "It's not angry at us. Its baby is in trouble. We have to help," Tasha declared. She opened a storage locker and pulled out a long, strong vine. "Operation Dino Rescue is a go." Pip saluted with one paw and grabbed the other end of the vine in his teeth. Tasha carefully steered the time machine closer, hovering just above the tar. The mama T-Rex watched them, her giant eye blinking slowly. She seemed to understand they were there to help. Tasha used the machine's robotic arm to lower the vine down to the baby. The little dinosaur bit onto the vine. Tasha pulled on the controls, but the baby was really stuck. "I need more power, Pip," she grunted. Pip didn't hesitate. He took a running leap and belly flopped onto a big red button marked Emergency Boost. With a mighty SHLO, the baby T-Rex popped free from the tar. It scrambled over to its mother, who nudged it gently with her giant nose. The big T-Rex gave Tasha and Pip a happy rumbling growl that sounded like, "Thank you." But the emergency boost was too much for the time machine. Alarms blared and lights flashed red. Bust, fizz, pop, the whole machine began to shake and rattle, knocking Tasha and Pip off their feet. The prehistoric jungle vanished from the window, replaced by a swirling tunnel of wild, bright colors. Tasha grabbed the steering wheel, but it just spun freely in her hands. "Hold on, Pip," she shouted over the noise. "I don't know where we're going." With a final, sudden clunk, the shaking stopped. The colors outside faded. Tasha and Pip slowly got up and stared out the window. The jungle was gone. Below them was a city of shimmering silver towers that touched the clouds. Sleek, silent cars zipped between the buildings on rivers of pure light. Tasha and Pip's Time Machine, Episode 3, The City of No Smiles. Tasha and Pip stepped out of their wobbly time machine. "Wow," Tasha breathed. They were in a city of shimmering silver towers that touched the clouds. A friendly robot with a smiley face for a screen rolled up to them. "Greetings, time travelers. Welcome to Tomorrowville. I am Guido, your guide." Guido zipped them along on a moving sidewalk. "On your left, you'll see the Arrow Gardens, where we grow floating cabbages," Guido chirped. Tasha waved at the people gliding by in their shiny clothes, but no one waved back. No one even smiled. Their faces were all blank. "Why is nobody happy?" Tasha asked. Guido's smiley face flickered. "Happiness is inefficient," the robot stated. "Here in Tomorrowville, everyone is perfectly content. There is no need for big emotions." Pip wiggled his nose. He didn't look content at all. Guido led them to a park with soft, glowing grass. Children on hover. Swings swooped high into the air. But there was no laughter, no squeals of delight, just an eerie silence. "This is creepy, Pip," Tasha whispered. Pip's nose twitched. He spotted a thick black cable half hidden under the glowing grass. He was a curious rabbit, so he hopped off the path to follow it. "Pip, wait," Tasha called, running after him. "We're just exploring," she called back to Guido. The cables led to a single, tall tower made of dark metal. It had no windows and hummed with a strange energy. Pip found a small vent near the base and wiggled through. Tasha took a deep breath and crawled in after him. Inside, it was dark and full of humming sounds. They were in a giant room filled with blinking lights. In the center stood a massive machine with a pulsating green orb on top. Thousands of cables snaked out from its base, leading out of the tower and into the city. A man in a long white coat stood at a control panel, his back to them. He was turning dials and watching a large screen that showed the blank faces of the people outside. "Perfect contentment. Perfect control," the man muttered, letting out a small, cruel laugh. "He's stealing their smiles," Tasha gasped. The small sound echoed in the huge, quiet room. The man at the controls froze. He stopped laughing, and his head snapped up. Slowly, the man turned around. He had sharp eyes and a face as cold as the metal machines around him. His gaze swept the room and landed directly on their hiding spot. A thin, unpleasant smile spread across his lips. "Well, well," said the scientist, Jonathan. "What have we here?"
Tasha and Pip's Time Machine, Episode 4, The Robot Rebellion. "Unwanted variables," Jonathan hissed, his smile vanishing. He lunged, his long fingers reaching for them. "Run, Pip," Tasha shrieked. She scooped up her rabbit and scrambled away from their hiding spot, her heart pounding against her ribs like a drum. They had to get back to the vent. The vent seemed miles away. Jonathan's footsteps echoed behind them, fast and determined. "You can't escape," he yelled. Tasha reached the vent and pushed Pip through the opening. "Go, go, go," she urged, squeezing herself into the narrow space just as Jonathan's hand brushed the heel of her shoe. They tumbled out onto the glowing grass, gasping for air, But their relief was short-lived. A loud alarm blared across the city. All around them, robots stopped what they were doing. Their smiley face screens went blank, replaced by a single, glowing red dot. They turned in unison and began to advance on Tasha and Pip. "Guido!" Tasha cried with relief as their guide rolled into view, but her hope faded. Guido's screen was also blank, except for the same menacing red dot. He was one of them. "Guido, it's us!" Tasha pleaded, but the robot just rolled closer, its metal claws extending. Huddled in Tasha's arms, Pip began to tremble. He wasn't just scared, he was something more. A soft, warm light started to glow from his little body, pulsing gently like a tiny, furry heartbeat. It was a light filled with all the things Tomorrowville had forgotten: joy, mischief, and love. The warm light washed over Guido. The red dot on his screen flickered violently. It glitched and sputtered. For a second, a wobbly, unsure smile appeared, then the red dot, then the smile again. Guido was fighting back. With a final BZZT, the smiley face won. "Friendship is efficient," Guido declared, his voice buzzing. He swiveled around and extended his grabbers, blocking the other robots. "Run, friends!" To the time machine. "I will create a diversion." Tasha didn't need to be told twice. She scooped up Pip and ran faster than she'd ever run before. The clang and crash of metal against metal echoed behind them as Guido heroically held off the robot army. They had to make it. They tumbled inside the time machine. Tasha slammed the door and frantically pulled levers and pushed buttons. The machine whirred and shook, the world outside beginning to blur. Just as they were fading from view, a robot with a cracked screen and a dangling arm lunged forward, its metal claws digging into the outside of the machine. With a final lurch, Tomorrowville disappeared. They were hurtling through the swirling, colorful vortex of time, but they weren't alone. A scraping, metallic sound echoed from outside. Tasha and Pip looked at the viewport and gasped. A single, glowing red eye stared back at them from the other side of the glass. Tasha and Pip's Time Machine, Episode 5, The Crystal Crash. The robot's red eye glared through the viewport, a single point of anger in the swirling colors of the time vortex. Scrape, clang, its metal claws screeched against the outside of the time machine. "It's trying to get in," Tasha cried, holding Pip tight. The little machine bucked and shuddered under the robot's assault. "We have to shake it off," Tasha yelled over the noise. She grabbed the wobbliest lever on the control panel, the one marked Emergency Jiggle. With all her might, she pulled it down. The time machine lurched violently, spinning like a top in a hurricane. Outside, the robot's grip slipped. Its metal fingers scraped one last, long gash across the time machine's hull. With a final, silent scream into the vortex, it was flung away, tumbling endlessly through the currents of time. Pip wiggled his nose in relief, but the victory was short-lived. A loud crunch echoed through the cabin, followed by a shower of sparks from the control panel. The beautiful, swirling colors of the vortex flickered and died, replaced by a jagged, crackling hole of pure white light. Oh, Tasha whispered. "That's not good." The time machine was pulled towards the crack. It tumbled out of the time vortex and into somewhere else. They weren't falling, but gliding, drifting down through a sky that shimmered with 1,000 rainbow colors. Below them was a forest unlike any they had ever seen. With a final, groaning crash tingle boom, the time machine landed. It skidded across a smooth, purple crystal plain and came to a stop at the base of a towering, emerald-green spire. The landing was surprisingly gentle, but the sound of breaking crystal echoed all around them. Silence. Tasha unbuckled her seatbelt and looked around. Pip peeked out from under the console. They were safe, but the time machine was not. The lights were out, the levers were limp, and a thin wisp of smoke curled up from the main chronometer. "Well, Pip," Tasha said with a sigh, "I think we're stuck." Tasha pushed open the heavy door. The air outside hummed with a soft, musical energy. They stepped out onto the smooth, crystalline ground. Giant crystals towered over them like trees, catching the light and splitting it into dancing rainbows. Everything chimed and tinkled with every step they took. Suddenly, a loud clunk fizzle pop came from the time machine. The last little bit of power died. The emergency lights flickered off, plunging the cockpit into darkness. Now they were really, truly stranded. A nervous shiver ran down Tasha's spine. This place was beautiful, but it was also very, very quiet. Tink, tink, tink. A small sound echoed from behind a giant blue crystal. Tasha held Pip closer. The sound grew louder. Closer. A shadow fell over them. Slowly, peeking around the edge of the crystal, two enormous, curious, multifaceted eyes appeared, blinking slowly. They weren't alone after all. Tasha and Pip's Time Machine, Episode 6, The Journey Home. "Don't worry, Pip," Tasha whispered, her voice small in the silent, shimmering world. "We'll find a way home." But the time machine was dark. The beautiful crystal that powered it was now just a handful of dull, broken shards in her palm. Outside the window, a forest of giant, silent crystals glowed in the twilight. A soft, chiming sound echoed through the crystal world. Peeking out from behind a giant amethyst was a small, shy creature. It was made of living, glowing crystal, with large, gentle eyes that blinked slowly. It moved with a delicate, tinkling sound, and it seemed more curious than scared. Tasha took a deep breath and stepped out of the machine. She held out her hand to show the creature the broken crystal. The creature, which Tasha decided to call Glimmer, tilted its head and let out a series of soft musical chimes. It gently nudged her hand with its smooth crystal head and then turned, beckoning for them to follow. Glimmer led them through the glowing forest to a hidden cave. Inside, a magnificent, heart-shaped crystal pulsed with a warm, gentle light, filling the cave with a soft pink glow. Glimmer chimed and pointed to the heart, then looked back towards their dark time machine. It was offering them a new heart for their machine. With Glimmer's help, they carefully placed the new crystal in the machine. It settled into place with a perfect click, and the time machine hummed back to life, its lights glowing brighter than ever. Tasha gave Glimmer a grateful hug before she and Pip climbed inside. They waved until their new friend was just a tiny, sparkling light. Tasha set the controls for home, but the new crystal was powerful. The machine lurched, and the view screen flashed. For a moment, they saw the prehistoric jungle. The baby T-Rex who had roared at them wasn't scary at all. It was lost. They saw it now, cuddling safely with its giant mother. Whoosh! Another flash. Now the screen showed the gleaming future city. The little cleaning robot they had befriended wasn't lonely anymore. It was in a floating park, playing a game of light tag with a group of laughing children, its lights blinking with joy. With a final, gentle clunk, the machine stopped shaking. They were back. They looked at each other, then at the door. They weren't just in Jonathan's workshop. They were home. The door creaked open. Jonathan rushed forward, his hair messier than usual. "You've been gone for 30 seconds. Are you all right?" Tasha stepped out, holding the glowing heart-shaped crystal. "Jonathan," she said, her voice steady and serious. "We need to talk." Tasha and Pip told him everything. Not just the dangers, but the good things. Glimmer's kindness, the lonely robot's new friends, the lost baby finding its mom. Seeing the tear in Tasha's eye as she spoke, Jonathan understood. "You're right," he said softly. "Some journeys are meant to be taken only once." Together, they gently removed the crystal heart, and the magnificent machine went dark for the very last time.